Hello and welcome to this James the Bike Guy, where today we're getting a chance to take a look at this giant fitness hybrid bike. This type of bike is the universal I just want a bike style bike that goes into the category when somebody is looking for their first ride or something just to get around, as well as it makes a great option for somebody going out and using it to commute to work or get some fitness riding as well. So this in front of us here is Giant's Escape 2. And so we're going to go into the features and designs of the Giant Escape 2, talk about what the bike's used for, as well as find out exactly what it weighs. So if this kind of thing is interesting to you, I suggest you stick around and consider subscribing. So beginning the look at this Giant Escape 2, I want to talk a bit about where this bike is and what it is in Giant's lineup. So in the intro, in jumbled words, I said that this is what would be considered just a bike. So sometimes when you're looking for a new bike and you don't know what you're going to use it for, and you're just looking for something that can do a lot of things well and be a decent bike, you would rock a fitness bike. And generally what a fitness bike is it's a hybrid where it matches up wheels that are just slightly thicker than what you'd get on a road bike, with a lightweight frame that's got the positioning of a mountain bike, so it's reasonably upright, and then a bike that's going to have things like rack mounts that we see on the back there, the ability to run fenders, slightly thicker, knobbier tires if you need to, mounting options up front, and then of course have a cockpit that's nice and comfortable. And that allows this bike to be able to be used for a wide range of uses. Now, because this is considered a hybrid, it is that combination of road bike performance and then mountain bike position, but they also have a bit more off-road oriented bike called the Giant Roam, which features front suspension but a similar frame geometry and slightly knobbier tires. And then you have the Giant Cypress, which is going to be mostly road oriented but much more upright, kind of like a cruiser for additional comfort. And so this Escape falls right into the middle of that lineup and offers a good mixture of things to make it a great all-around bike. Now this particular Escape is the Escape 2. So in Giant's lineup they have a 1, 2, and a 3, and this being the 2 is the middle level, which effectively means the parts and components we'll talk about a little later on are going to be mid-level spec, good quality stuff, and this is going to be the first level that gets you disc brakes. So the most basic Giant Roam, that comes with rim brakes, but on here we've got disc for better control and additional clearance for tires and mud, anything that might come up on the road. Now, few more frame features to talk about. The frame itself is made out of their A-Lux aluminum. So this A-Lux grade aluminum is going to have shaped and butted tubing. It does have those rack and fender mounts. It also has a direct mount for a kickstand mount, which I love to see on bikes like this, because I think that's one of the most secure ways to hold the bike up with a rear mount kickstand. And then up front, it's going to rock an aluminum fork. Now, the reason you might want an aluminum fork like this is going to lose a lot of weight over a steel variant and be more similar to carbon as far as weight is. Granted, it's going to transmit a bit more vibrations than the carbon fork that you'd get on a higher level. We talked a bit about wheel size and diameter. So this is a 700C wheel, which is the same as a road bike. But then they're going to be rocking these 700 by 38C tires. So essentially a 38 millimeter tire, nice width to it, and you do have this knurled portion on the side, but a smooth tread in the front. So on pavement like we have here, even chipped up pavement like this, it's going to roll really well, have plenty of grip, and even some light gravel you could do on this bike too. Moving into the cockpit of the rig, you can see this is a flat bar style handlebar. That means much like a mountain bike, it's got kind of straight across. It doesn't have one of those bars that curves down. And it's going to be using ergonomic grips from Giant with a nice palm swell for your hand to rest on. And then you're going to have trigger shifters on the handlebar where you've got index finger to go to harder gear, thumb button to go to an easier, hydraulic disc brakes up top, aluminum handlebar, aluminum stem, and then out back is a Giant saddle. This is pretty comfy. I've spent a little bit of time on the saddle, and it's mounted up on an aluminum D-Fuse seat post. So what this D-Fuse seat post is, if I get my hand behind it, you might see that the seat post is flat on the back. So top down, that kind of looks like a D shape with the flat portion out back. And that allows them to have a bit more compliance in the seat post, where it can bend back a little bit while you're riding over bumps. To fix it to the bike is this 2-bolt clamp. Loosen it, you can raise and lower the seat post, tighten it down, and it should be really nice and secure. Moving into the drivetrain of the bike, we're set up with a 2x8 speed drivetrain. So that means 16 total gears, where there's only 2 up front and 8 in back. Now, a lot of people often look for more gears means a better bike, but that's generally not always the case, because the more shifting that happens up front, the more wear and tear and adjustment that's needed to make the bike rock. So in many cases on modern hybrids like this, they'll be starting to limit the number of gears up front and adding additional range in back. You know, the top end versions of these types of bikes will often be a single ring up front with a wide, 10, 11, or 12 speed out back. Now, this bike is an 8-speed drivetrain, so this has a Shimano Hyperglide rear cassette. It goes all the way from a 11 to 34 tooth range, so the 34 being the biggest, 11 being the smallest on this cassette, and that's going to give a pretty wide range that this Altus rear derailleur is shifting through. Then going forward is an aluminum Pro Wheel crankset. The 2x gearing rocks a 46-30, so 46 big tooth, 30 small, and that means a 30 tooth up front with a 34 out back is going to be less than a 1-to-1 gear ratio, giving you a super low range to get up some hills. Now, shifting through is that trigger shifter we talked about before, 1 through 8 with the indicator, and then on the left hand side is the high and low gear of 1 and 2. Now, slowing the bike down is courtesy some Tektro hydraulic disc brakes. This happens to be the HD R280 brakes. These are stopping 2-piston flat mount calipers on 160mm 6-bolt rotors. And that concludes the features and designs of this Giant Escape 2. So now that we've taken a look at that, it's time to find out exactly what this one weighs. The actual weight of the Giant Escape in a size medium is going to come in and weigh 25.84 pounds. Well, thanks so much for taking a look at this Giant Escape 2 with me today. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this bike down in the comment section below. While you're at it, be sure to hit the subscribe button, as well as browse the channel to see other videos like this to check out as well.